For all of the haters that are trying to deflect from my album, Love Language, with this horrible rumor that I've died.
Sadly, on March 1, 2025, after performing in Mobile, Alabama, her Sprinter van was involved in an accident and Angie lost her life at the age of 63. Angie Stone was among the most influential voices in contemporary R&B and neo soul. With a career spanning several decades, she not only established herself as a powerful vocalist but also as a gifted songwriter and producer. Her music blended classic soul influences with modern R&B, making her a staple in the genre. Sadly, on March 1, 2025, after performing in Mobile, Alabama, her Sprinter van was involved in an accident and Angie lost her life at the age of 63.
Stone's publicist Deborah Champagne tells me the singer was leaving a performance when the crash happened around 7 a.m.
While her loved ones and fans mourn her passing, today we'll be taking a deep dive into her legacy and how the industry continued to betray, disappoint, and disrespect her from the start of her career and up until her final moments.
I'll tell you, I just recently spoke to Angie, actually. It was not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before that. I was vacationing and celebrating Tawanda Braxton. She was having a bachelorette gathering. And I was at a restaurant. One of Angie's songs came on, so I recorded it and then sent it to her and was like, hey, I know you're not in Tulum right now with us, but you're actually here with us. And so maybe an hour or two later, she called me back. We had an amazing conversation. Angie was excited about all of the things that were coming up in her life, to include, she was hopefully going to be doing new work with a reboot of the show Girlfriend, because she sings the theme song of that. She talked about her performance that she was getting ready to do in Alabama. She talked about the CIAA in Baltimore. So she had a lot of things that she was doing, and she was excited. The sad part for me, and it's also the blessing for me, is that you never know when you're going to have the final conversation with somebody. And so for me, this was actually our last conversation, and it was a great one. Singing was always going to be her first love, because I think that's one of the things that her, despite the tragedy of what happened to her, the one thing that her children want people to be reminded of is that she passed away doing what she loved. She was in concert in Alabama. She gave it her all. The crowd loved her. She loved the crowd. So I think that, they still want their mom, but they know that she rested doing the thing she loved, which was singing and performing and loving on her fans.
This story dates back to the 70s, when the South Carolina native formed a rap trio with her high school friends Cheryl Pearl Cook and Gwendolyn Blondie Chisholm, called The Sequence. They signed to Sugar Hill Records, which was founded by Joe and Sylvia Robinson and Milton Malden. They recorded their music at the legendary Sugar Hill Studios in New Jersey, including their hit song, Funk You Up. They also worked alongside their label mates, the iconic rap group The Sugar Hill Gang. Angie told Vlad TV that The Sequence also wrote songs for the Sugar Hill Gang, but they never received any credit for their work.
The Sugar Hill Gang's Eighth Wonder, Apache, Sequence wrote those songs. So when you hear, let's dance, I know you got the feet, but let's dance, come on and get down, that's us.
He married a man named Rodney Stone from the hip-hop group Funky 4+1, and they welcomed their daughter Diamond in 1984. Angie and Rodney's relationship didn't last, and they went their separate ways. She became a member of the R&B trio Vertical Hold, best known for their 1993 album, A Matter of Time. Her work with Vertical Hold showcased her ability to blend smooth R&B melodies with contemporary production, further solidifying her presence in the industry. The same year their album was released, 31-year-old Angie met 19-year-old high school dropout and aspiring musician Michael Eugene Archer, better known by his stage name, D'Angelo. She told GQ magazine that she knew D'Angelo would become a superstar. There was also an innocence within him that she became protective of, and she became somewhat of a mother figure to him. In an interview with Essence magazine, she described D'Angelo as being awkward. He wore glasses, had short hair, and wore his pants hanging down to his butt. Angie said, "No one saw his beauty but me." After becoming an item, things progressed quickly. She was his support system when he doubted himself and his talents. She said he suffered from low self-esteem, and she had to constantly remind him of his beauty. She told him that one day his lips, his eyes, and everything about him would become famous. Vertical Hold released its sophomore album Head First in 1995. D'Angelo contributed to the album by co-writing a song with Angie called Pray. Vertical Hold broke up shortly thereafter. Angie continued working as a songwriter and worked with several artists, including Lenny Kravitz and Prince. And Angie briefly joined another group while D'Angelo focused on kickstarting his music career. As he began crafting the music that would later be featured on his debut album Brown Sugar, Angie became his muse. Although he didn't write any songs specifically for her, she said her love, presence, and spirit flowed into his music. He signed with EMI Records and went on to create some of the most timeless R&B music our ears have ever heard. During an interview with Fox Soul, Angie said she was a really tiny girl for most of her life. However, after battling chronic high blood pressure and sarcoidosis, she was placed on steroids, and the medication caused her to gain excessive weight. Despite the changes in her physical appearance, Angie said D'Angelo's feelings towards her never changed. Angie said it wasn't until his debut album was released in 1995 that people noticed his attractiveness. After the public found out he was in a relationship with Angie, people commented that he was too fine to be with someone like her. It was a massive blow to her ego, but their love for each other was too strong to be dismantled by outside voices. In September 1996, they attended an event that was described as fashion designer Giorgio Armani's tribute to D'Angelo. They rented a limo, and as they were approaching the venue, the car pulled over. Angie said D'Angelo was asked to get into another car, where he would be escorted inside the event by Vivica A. Fox. Angie told GQ magazine, "It was a Hollywood moment. They wanted a trophy girl. I had to walk in behind them to flashing cameras. It started the wheels turning of what was yet to come." Things got worse from there. When Madonna turned 39, she asked D'Angelo to sing Happy Birthday to her at her star-studded party. Eyewitnesses later claimed Madonna sat on his lap and began French kissing him in front of everyone. Angie's breakthrough as a solo artist came in the late 90s when she signed to Clive Davis's Arista Records. The years of experience she had in the industry set her apart from the other neo-soul artists. By then, Angie was in her late 30s, which meant she was older and wiser than other emerging artists. While she was hoping that her talent would override ageism in the industry, she told The Breakfast Club that Clive told her never to bring up her previous rap career with the sequence because it would reveal her real age.
One of the things that Clive Davis and Peter Edge wanted to do was say, okay, look, we don't want to date you. I'm like, I'm still young. What are you talking about? Well, we don't want to talk about all that stuff at Sugar Hill. So they kind of gag ordered me not to talk about.
So they wanted to be just a brand new artist coming out.
And I'm sure a lot of you already know that she passed away tragically in a car accident at the age of 63 years old. She was traveling in a Sprinter, driving back from a show, and the Sprinter flipped over and a truck hit the Sprinter. And what's so crazy is, out of the group of people she traveled with, she was the only one who died. That's crazy. And yes, her passing was very, very, very heartbreaking because Angie Stone has left a huge mark in the music industry, especially on the neo-soul music scene. And when you really dive deep into Angie's story, there were a lot of situations where she didn't get the credit she deserved. And she was actually really cheated out of a lot of money from her label. She was signed to Arista Records. Clive Davis signed her, and she was cheated out of money from Arista and UMG. And you know UMG is currently going through a legal battle with Drake right now. So the fact that Angie was gearing up to sue the label says a lot. I mean, there's some crooked stuff going on over there.
A lot of my publishing, a lot of my royalties, my mechanicals, they have all pretty much been stolen. Where are my royalties going? Because I'm not getting this. Come to find out, Universal Music has been receiving all my royalties. all my mechanicals. But they have taken all the monies that were due to me, people that were working on my behalf, never even registered the songs, all the songs that I've done. I'm only coming to find out they were not properly registered by the companies that I signed over to.
Angie also had other disappointments in the industry. She expressed her disappointment when Mary J. Blige took two of the records she did with D'Angelo, one called Every Day and another one called Die, which Mary renamed Paradise.
When I wrote Every Day, it was my song, always my song. D'Angelo and I had written a song for me, a project I was working on for me. We also had written a song called Die, which she calls Paradise. Now, mind you, they went and put Every Day out with her singing on top of me, left all my vocals in. They did the same thing with her version of Die. It's called Paradise. And they took the song without permission and released it to the internet. The ultimate disrespect. The label called me up. Her label called me up maybe 3 years ago and say, hey, we got this version. Did you know that the Mary J. Blige version of Every Day, such and such and such, I won't go into the details. And I'm like, yeah, are we still there? They got a whole label copy that they actually released and tried to get money for. That's when I got tight. I got tight because I'm like, you don't do that. Don't. Why would you take mine? Why would you take from me? You don't have to. You are a megastar. You are a multimillionaire. You have everything and everyone in your corner. Not to mention, in the very beginning when no one was believing in you, I stood there. I believed in Mary J. Blige. I took Mary J. Blige to my house after her managers begged me to coach her.
For a long time, Angie Stone got criticism over her weight.
And I'm in the dark. That was what they did because I was overweight and they didn't want anybody to know how overweight I was. So they shadowed me in the dark. So all you saw was my face. That was an attempt to cover me so that it wouldn't hurt the sales.
Why did you leave Clive Davis to begin with?
I think I was rubbed the wrong way when I found out I didn't make the Oprah show because of my weight. Oprah Winfrey did a big special on Neo Soul, and every artist was on there from Jill Scott to India Arie. I think Alicia was on there for Falling, and I was the only artist that was not on there. Well, you have to know that it devastated me when my manager at the time was Breon Prescott, and he turned around and told me, Angie, Clive wouldn't let you go because of your weight. He didn't want you to be on there because he felt like you were too big.
The whole weight situation wasn't the only reason why Angie wanted to leave Clive and Arista Records. She also wanted to leave because she felt like D'Angelo's team was affecting her standing on the label. She noticed that her budget was being cut, and also she was really upset when she found out that Clive Davis's golden girl, Alicia Keys, took the name of her album.
You know, I usually have $1 million album budget. They wanted me to make the record for $500,000. And at the time, I had Diary of a Soul Sister. It was what the album was going to be called. Well, the straw that broke the camel's back was shortly after that, they told me I had to change the name of my album because Alicia was doing Diary of Alicia Keys. And at that point, my chest sunk in. And I wrote Clive a letter and asked for a release.
In July 2023, she had to address a horrible death hoax that was placed on her after a video of her looking frail in a wheelchair was shared online.
Let me just make it very clear that my attorney, Mr. Antavius Weems, we are in pursuant of the people who have started this nasty rumor, addressing the issue with the head wrap and the wheelchair. First of all, I'm a human being. I had a twisted ankle. Number 2, for all of the haters that are trying to deflect from my album, Love Language, with this horrible rumor that I've died. You have gone amok for a couple of weeks now. We thought you'd take it down, but you continuously ride the wave as if it's true. Before you go and dig a hole for me, dig one for you and all the other people that's following your stupidity, because it's too easy to check to see if somebody is really alive or dead.
And then in December 2024, she hopped back on Instagram Live to tell her fans she had a blood infection that left her hospitalized and unable to perform.
The nurses began to tell me that I was screaming for Jesus, because when I went down, I'm sorry, I didn't know that, I didn't know what was happening.
Thankfully, after 2 weeks, the infection cleared up. However, Angie said that as she was getting better, she learned that Universal Music Group, also known as UMG, had stolen her royalty payments.
After 45 to 50 years in the business, the worst thing that could happen, it has, of course, happened to me, but they have taken all the monies that were due to me. They have basically absorbed in that company. And even though there's several class action lawsuits, people that were working on my behalf never even registered the songs. All the songs that I've done, I'm only coming to find out they were not properly registered.
So look, according to them, a truck driver from a sundown town in Texas on Mardi Gras weekend and an Oscar award weekend, they wanted all the distractions so people wouldn't sit back and put 2 and 2 together. You telling me out of all them people in that van, she was the only one to be unalive? First the van flipped, then a truck come out of nowhere, ironically, and hits the van. Make that make sense. On I-65 is the easiest interstate to drive on. You telling me a truck driver didn't see that van flipped over? Make that make sense. And then I said, wait. Why is the only pictures online of this accident is people driving by? That's the only pictures. You see no clear pictures. Usually it's a professional photographer that goes on the scene and takes pictures of the accident. You don't see no professional pictures. All the pictures you see is from people in their cars driving by. All the videos you see is people in their cars driving by. Why is no professional pictures? And look, I found the driver of the Sprinter van. His name is Lethal Carter, 66 years old, from Georgia. I went to his Instagram page just to see if he said anything about Angie Stone, like a rest in peace, anything. I saw nothing. And then I found out he was a felon. And I'm not going to put that on him. I'm not going to say, oh, he's a felon, he did this on purpose. But it's some questions that we need answers to. Did someone...